I really want to create a Wicked cake, so I asked my followers if I should create Elphaba, Glinda, or half Elphaba, half Glinda on the same face. And I wasn't too surprised that majority of people chose half Elphaba, half Glinda. But I'm up for the challenge. I think this cake is going to look super cool. Will I have the cake done by the time the Wicked for Good movie comes out? Probably not, because the movie comes out in 2 days, but I'm gonna try and get it done as soon as possible, so let's get going. The first step of any portrait cake is building the structure, and here's my structure sitting on my table currently. Let's do something about this. Planning the structure is the hardest part for me, especially making sure that the wooden supports for the neck and head are not too wide, otherwise I'm in trouble. I baked up some pink and green cake because there really is no other way when you're making a Wicked cake. I'm adding the cake for the neck first. Now I'm placing the wood support for the head and adding the rest of the cake on top. I'm also placing bubble tea straws for extra support since the cake is 10 inches tall. Since my measurements were pretty accurate, I only have to do a little bit of carving, and now a quick crumb coat and ganache to seal in all of the cake. If you couldn't tell, the left side is going to be Glinda and the right side is going to be Elphaba. I'm planning on having Elphaba's hair be like a bun in the back with hair coming down. So that's why you see it's a little round right here. Kind of hard to tell. I'm still figuring out things myself. I have sculpted a 2-character face before, but that was when I did Tom Hardy on one side and Venom on the other side, taking over his face. So that was a bit easier because one was a realistic human and one was a monster. This time I have 2 realistic faces that I'm trying to make look unified. So it's a little bit trickier, but if I can pull this off, it's going to look insane. Mapping out the face is always the most stressful part for me because all of the proportions need to be accurate to the real face, otherwise the cake won't look like them. And since I'm sculpting 2 faces, I'm measuring out everything twice. This style is called additive sculpting, where I build up the face with chunks of modeling chocolate, forming the details like the nose, the lips, the eyes as I go. Modeling chocolate is very similar to clay. It doesn't dry out, so I can really take my time. I have both of the faces mapped out at this point. Oh my gosh, this is getting so heavy from all the chocolate. The cake is looking so cool at this point. I can't wait to paint it and bring the color to life, but I still have a lot of refining to do on the faces. Now that I'm confident with the proportions of each face, I can go in and add all of the final detailing and just fix little things here and there. Maybe like 4 more hours of work, but then I still need to add all of the hair. But building the cake and laying down the foundation of the faces are always the most difficult part for me. Now I can have a little bit more fun and be a little freer and a little more relaxed. I have confidence in the cake now, so I am feeling really good. I'm paying close attention to the shapes and curvatures of the faces. I'm asking myself, how narrow is the eyelid? How indented is the nostril? No detail is getting left behind. If the cheeks and jawbone are too wide, the face will look completely off. I'm also making sure that the nose, the lips, the eyes all line up evenly so it looks like 2 faces naturally placed next to each other. As natural as it could look. It only took me like 10 hours, but I'm finally done sculpting the faces. I saw Cynthia Erivo, who plays Elphaba, come to life pretty quickly as I was sculpting. I'm seeing Ariana Grande, who plays Glinda, a bit in the face, but I know it's not until I paint her that she's really gonna come to life. Before I can finish sculpting the hair, there's 2 very important items I need to figure out. Elphaba is going to need her black hat, and I've got just the perfect model, which I ordered on Amazon. I'll link it in my shop. Kind of a perfect fit. Glinda's hair gets in the way a little bit, but I only need to make half of it for Elphaba's side of the face. And for Glinda's side, she'll be wearing her crown, which I also got on Amazon. So before I do any sculpting, I need to figure out how to make the hat and the crown edible. I'm creating a mold of the crown to capture all of the intricate detailing, and while the mold sets, I'm starting to work on the witch hat. I have this idea to build the entire hat in wafer paper that I printed black. I can soften the wafer paper with some water to shape it, then it will dry hard and should be strong enough to hold up as a hat. It's a little wobbly, so I'm gonna let it set and work on the crown for a bit. The mold looks beautiful. I'm painting melted white chocolate inside and laying it on a container to set in the freezer in the right shape. I'm gently pulling away the mold, and right away I see the chocolate is cracking. So now I'm trying again, but putting a thicker layer of chocolate in the mold. Moment of truth, I'm pulling away the mold, and it worked. The chocolate did not crack. I'll just need to paint the crown to make the metal wires stand out against the backing. I'm finishing the top of the hat, and now it's the next day. The hat has dried, and I can cut it in the middle so it's just half a hat, and I'm testing out a new technique to turn the wafer paper into a crepe paper look to match the texture of Elphaba's real hat. I soften the paper with a glycerin water mixture, and I'm rolling it on a dowel and squeezing it together as hard as I can. When I unroll it, it should create a crepe paper effect. It does look amazing. I'm so glad I tried this out. I just need to repeat it around 8 more times so I have enough to cover the whole hat. I'm looking at a picture of Elphaba's real hat as I glue it on with piping gel, and it matches it so perfectly. Lastly, I'm painting the crown a shimmery white and gently brushing a metallic silver over all of the wiring to raise up all of the detail. I'm a bit blown away by how cool this hat turned out. I love that it's all wafer paper, no structure inside, and the crepe paper technique is unbelievable. It was just the perfect texture that I needed for Elphaba's hat. I mean, it looks like fabric. I love when I get to try out new techniques and they actually work. And back to the star of the show. Now I'm at the final sculpting stage for the hair. For Glinda's hair, I'm not too worried. It's a very similar style that I've sculpted before. For Elphaba, Cynthia Erivo actually wears a micro braid wig. I got a mold that can do some braids. It's not micro, but I think it'll be small enough to get the effect. I'm using a bit of foil to bulk up the area for the hair to go on top of. I don't need cake here. I'm placing modeling chocolate in the braid mold, scraping away the extra, and as I pull it out, I'm left with a beautiful braid strand. Now try to guess how many braids I needed to make to cover all of the hair. I'm overlapping the braids and placing them in different directions to make it look realistic. Glinda's hair is being pulled back halfway and tied into a bun in the back, and I'm making sure to leave room for where the crown is going to be glued in place. Okay, last chance to guess how many braids I used for Elphaba's hair. The answer is 102 braids. After almost a full week of sculpting, I can't believe I'm finally at the final stage of painting this wicked cake. I'm really impressed with how I was able to create this braided hair look on Elphaba with just one braid mold. The look is just so textured and really cool. I'm still not convinced I see Ariana yet. What do you think? But now that I'm finally going to paint, hopefully she'll come to life. I am so excited to see the contrast of the two faces and the different hairs and the hat and the crown all come together. Let's finish this. I'm looking at Ariana Grande's face very closely, trying to match her golden brown eyes and get a natural and realistic skin tone that matches. I'm making sure to add a lot of pink undertones into Glinda's face to really enhance the pink versus green contrast. I'm a little nervous, or I should say cautious, painting Elphaba's face because I want the green to look realistic and not costumey. I'm adding browns, yellows, and a little red into the green to give it more depth. I'm also using a lot of shading, making raised areas like the cheeks and chins lighter and recessed areas like the inner corner of the eyes and nose and hairline darker to make it look natural and realistic. Glinda's pretty much just got platinum blonde hair with some brown shading in it. If I only use black to paint Elphaba's braids, it will look very flat. By adding brown and yellow hues, the braids show more detail and contrast. I'm using the same crepe wafer paper from the hat for Elphaba's shirt, and now finally I can glue on the hat and the crown with melted chocolate and bring the vision to life. Are you ready for the final reveal? Even from the back, it looks so cool. I think this is one of the craziest cakes I have ever created. I am just so proud of all of the detail, all of the coloring, all of the techniques I tried to bring my vision to life. The cake turned out even more incredible than I thought it would. I just cannot believe that I made this creation right here. I'm gonna toot my own horn. I'm proud. Just so realistic. I really paid attention to every single detail. I spent over 70 hours on this cake, and I think it shows. I can't decide who looks more realistic, Elphaba or Glinda. I definitely see Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, but who do you think it looks more like? Comment below. And also let me know if you want to see more hybrid cakes like this with two faces put together. I do have one idea from another movie that I want to do, but I'm not going to say what it is right now. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and check me out on all my other socials. Now, it's going to be really hard to cut into this cake. I kind of just want to stare at it forever, but I think it's time. See you in the next video, and should we cut the cake? All right, here we go, 70 hours, about to be destroyed. Will the hat cut? It is certainly crunching. Wow, okay. This is cutting better than I expected. Feeling positive here. All right, we're cutting into the cake. This is crazy. This looks insane. I got some cute pics with cake. Now let's cut the rest. Cutting through the board. We'll let it fall.